Time for a big, ugly Republican shutdown update. As I record this, the Senate is voting down both continuing resolutions again. As a reminder, S-2882 is the Democratic version, H.R. 5371 is the Republican version. The mass layoffs have not happened yet because they've already been happening. This is what federal workers were trying to tell us. The new propaganda from Trump and Roosevelt, of course, is that workers may not be entitled to back pay, which they are as of 2019. But OMB is already updating their guidance and trying to pretend like the law doesn't say what it says. Republicans in Congress are already walking that back, so don't expect that to go anywhere. Mike Johnson was asked if he would consider emergency military pay, and he was like, of course, because he's a spineless people pleaser. And Thune was like, no, that's not the message. Likewise, Trump is saying that they're willing to negotiate on the ACA subsidies, while Thune and Johnson were like, no, we're not. In other words, the wheels are falling off the Republican bus. Now, a note to those of you who keep talking about how we're never going to have elections in 2026 and the Republicans have all the power and the Democrats have no power. Listen closely. The data point that some people are using to justify this worldview is the filibuster. The filibuster is just a rule in the Senate, and rules can be changed by a majority vote. Republicans have the majority, which means at any time they could actually rid themselves of the filibuster and pass H.R. 5371 upon purely partisan lines. Why are the Republicans hand-wringing so much about the shutdown if they could technically just pass a continuing resolution right now? Because they've already passed a piece of legislation on purely partisan lines, the big beautiful bill, and they are having to eat that in a bad way. Whatever happens next with budgeting, especially if the ACA gets gutted in the process, will be a disaster. None of this is a disaster if they're not concerned about midterms, which means we're going to have midterms. Speaking of midterms, there is a not zero chance that the Republicans lose the majority in one, or maybe even both, chambers in 2026. And they need that filibuster to be alive and kicking if and when the Democrats take over. What the Democrats need to be doing right now is saying all of this out loud. I.e., if the Republicans are so concerned about a shutdown and federal workers and armed forces not getting paid, services not being executed, and if they really believe that H.R. 5371 is the best ever for the country, and they're not willing to do bipartisan negotiations, which means both parties get input into the bill, then they should just own that, take it all the way to the mat, rip the filibuster off and pass H.R. 5371, and enjoy owning everything that comes after. These Republicans are not built like that. Democrats, and you, need to stop acting like they are. Call your reps and stay tuned.